Hey, everybody. Good evening, or should I say good night? This is Desiree Hall. Many of you know me as Lady Des of AM 1490 WMBM. This is my Real Love Ministries live platform, and I just want to say thank you all so much for joining me on tonight. And it's always a grand pleasure to have my girl, Trish Phillips of MMDF on with me. Hey, Trish.
Hey girl, Dr. Desi.
How you doing?
I am good. It's always an honor and a pleasure to be from one AM radio sister to another to
Absolutely.
be on your platform. I thank you for always extending this invitation out to me and my foundation.
Thank you so much. It is definitely a great honor to have someone so knowledgeable in the area of organ and tissue donation, as well as kidney health. I've been telling everybody about you. That this is something very important that our community should have education in and also be aware of. And before I get started, I just want to wish you a happy birthday because I haven't talked to you since you turned 50 years old.
This is 50 and fabulous. Thank you.
Come on, man. Yes, absolutely.
By the grace of God to see 50 years. Not everyone's here or alive to even get to see 50. So thank
absolutely.
you. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. I promise you, everybody, only if you want to stay long, that's how long we're going to stay. But our plan is just to give you this information and to let you go on about your evening. But I just want to once again thank everybody for joining in. And let me just tell you a little bit about Trish Phillips. Trish is a living kidney donor who donated directly to her best friend, Kimberly, December 15, 2016. She is also the founder and the executive director of MMDF, Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation. And she is also the general manager of 1520, AM 1520 WEXY. And Trish, thank you so much once again. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about MMDF and what that stands for.
Oh, thanks, Desi, for that amazing introduction. You put so much emphasis on it. I appreciate all the love. And like Desi said, I am the founder and the executive director of MMDF. And I know Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation is a mouthful. So MMDF is cool. We can keep it like that. And this is one of the main platforms, or one of the few, that I can just keep it candid. I'm here with my girlfriend. It's like we're just shooting the breeze, having tea. So absolutely. I can just be laid back and relax. As far as MMDF, I donated, like she said, in 2016, and I became a volunteer for a volunteer group. And at that volunteer group, there was an African-American man, and my co-volunteer that day, she was of Caucasian race. And the gentleman, she was explaining to him about organ donation, going over the same spiel that I have. And the look on his face and the knowing of he's not receiving the information as well. So I basically gave the same information, and it was better received from me, Desi, because I looked like him. And at that particular moment, I knew I had to change the narrative because, of course, we lead off organ donation, signing up to be a registered organ donor, or perhaps becoming a living donor.
Right.
It's the goal, the end-all game. But because of the medical mistrust and the way things are, we need to change the narrative of how this message is delivered, especially when we're speaking of people of color. So with that being said, this was 2019, I always had in the back of my head that I needed to make a change. And this is what was the opening thought pattern for me is not to just speak to someone about being a organ donor, but the why organ donation is important and the risk factors and preventative measures. So that is why I started MMDF, and we are here to inform, assist, educate, just all thing organ donation, transplantation, and to bring diversity in the multicultural communities and change the narrative when it comes to people of color.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you are definitely doing a grand job in doing that and also raising money. You're a runner as well. So you're doing a lot of things, all things organ donation. So we just appreciate that. And if you don't know, this month, the month of August, is dedicated to National Minority Organ Donor Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. So if you have seen me doing quite a few lives and interviews in reference to organ donation, this is why. I do have my own personal story as well. And that's how Trish and I got connected. Actually, maybe about 2 years ago, Trish, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a long, it's been that long already, right?
So about connected.
That we connected
each other through radio stations and around, but we
right.
connected.
Absolutely.
In 2 years.
Yeah. So it was just like, wow. That, and I didn't even know at that time that you were into organ donation and doing the show and stuff. I just happened to turn it on and I said, wait, let me connect with her, because at that time, you remember, my body was accumulating kidney stones. Mm-hmm. And I was having that issue. So I just wanted to, when I heard the show, I was like, you were giving so many different, you was just giving knowledge on kidney health. And I was like, wow, this is what I needed. And I also shared with you when we connected that my father has been living with one kidney for over 25 years. So it was very dear to me then. So I'm going to share this with everybody. I did share it briefly on my show Thursday, but now it really hits home because my husband now is currently on the organ donor transplant list.
Yes.
And listen, 2 years ago, you would have never told me that this would be what it is. But unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with right now. And I'm even more persuaded and pushed to learn more about organ donation and kidney health. So it just hits differently than all of our other shows we have ever done together, Trish. So I really want you to dig in tonight and get this information out. I know my husband, he's around here listening as well, because it is a scary thing when you get that news that you will have to go on dialysis or you will have to be on the transplant list, that type of thing. And it's like, okay, what do we do? How do we supposed to eat? You know, it's just a whole lot that is entailed with that. And I know that there are so many others that are listening to this program on tonight that have the same questions, or maybe leery even about organ donation or being a living donor to someone else. So Trish, thank you once again. And I know that you are the perfect person to give this information out and to bring awareness and to educate our community. So let's go here. How important is kidney health and for our community to go to the doctor?
And like I always tell Desi, like everyone who listens to my show, I'm not a medical doctor, healthcare provider. And it is very important for anyone who's out there listening, if they're having any symptoms or any complications, to seek medical health care from your professional or just go over to the emergency room. So we want to put that disclaimer out there, and do not stop taking any of your meds. Listen to your doctors, because this is something I have to give constantly on my show, radio show, because I have callers calling in. Can you believe, from their doctor's office? Now, the doctors themselves, they do thank me for getting their patient there. But a lot of people that I stress over the airways that it is extremely important to see the doctor, especially people of color. Well, this is with any race. Anyone should see the doctor and make sure they're getting there annually, because 1 in 3 individuals can have symptoms, and not often all kidney symptoms or kidney disease shows symptoms, period. So it's important to get those tests. Absolutely. I always tell people those 2 simple tests that you can ask your doctor about if you're having symptoms or even if you're not. Don't wait till your annual, but definitely at least annual. Those 2 tests are ACR, which is your urine test, and GFR, which is the blood test. And they're just 2 simple tests. And especially if you are with risk factors, common risk factors of chronic kidney disease range from being overweight, obese, high blood pressure, hypertension, and having many of things like heart disease. It just runs rampant into our race. So that's why we're higher at risk and being over age of 60, but not limited to the age of 60. So Absolutely. It's very important.
Absolutely, because and you said something, some of it don't have no symptoms at all. Because I remember when I first originally got sick, I didn't have any symptoms. It just came on all of a sudden. I felt this pain, this irritating agony in my lower back, not even thinking at all that it was something dealing with my kidneys. And when I went to the doctor, I was telling my husband, if it doesn't light up, I'm going to have to go to the emergency room or urgent care or something to get this thing checked out. And when I got to the emergency room, they checked me out and it was like, no, I went to urgent care first. And they were like, this sounds like kidney stones. I said, kidney stones, but they didn't have the proper equipment to actually check to make sure. So they sent me to the hospital to get an MRI done. And sure enough, it was a nice size kidney stone sitting there. And I wasn't sick prior to. Matter of fact, we had a photo shoot that day. We did a podcast. It was a whole lot of things that we did earlier that day for me to get that sick later that night. Right. It was crazy. It was crazy without no, yeah, it just screwed up from out of nowhere. So it's so important, like you said, if you feel any discomfort, anything that's out of the ordinary, go get checked out. Don't wait for that annual year checkup to go get checked out. But let me tell you, that is so important. Now, let me ask you this. Can you give everybody your story on how you got so involved that you became that living donor?
For those of you who may not have heard my story, it all started, Kimberly, like you mentioned earlier. She and I have been best friends for over 20 plus years at that time. We're going into our 27th year now, I think. Wow. And she and I coined ourselves the modern day Thelma and Louise, but minus that ending, of course. So it had come to the point where she had been on dialysis and I was missing our adventures. When I tell you, we used to have some type of adventure and weird stuff found us where we were in some type of adventure. I miss those because everyone knows how dialysis, well, I'm hoping everyone knows how serious dialysis could be. It could be very draining, not feeling well afterwards. So I missed our times together. And I asked her, is there anything I can do? I don't like my friend like this. And when she told me the next best thing for her to get off dialysis, she would need a kidney, whether it's from a living donor or a deceased donor. And I'm going to admit, Dr. Desi, I am not ashamed that I was not educated when it comes to organ transplantation. Most African Americans we shy away from this, and I did not have the knowledge. So when I actually thought I had to be blood related to her. So before I can even donate. Now, back then I wasn't even aware of if I'm not a match to her. There right now there's great paired exchange voucher programs through National Kidney Register, or you can contact through NKDO. But at that time, I was thinking I had to be a direct match. And I was like, Kimberly, you better pray hard that I'm a match, because if I'm not, then I'm not going to be able to do it. So she doesn't ask. And anyone out there that's listening, if you are on dialysis, we as a race, you have to ask. Closed mouths don't get fed, as we know that slogan.
Absolutely.
You never know who will hear your story, and it's touched by it. Share, share, share. I'm going to bring up MMDF's senior ambassador, Sophia Jackson, lived in Utah and was on a flight all the way to DC. On her flight, she saw there was a NYPD detective, female, African-American, who was in need of a kidney by the name of Adrian.
Wow.
Sophia saw her story and was moved. So this is why it's important. Sophia also was not a direct match, but what she did, she donated on Vadrian's behalf. So she is Vadrian's donor, because by her donating on Vadrian's behalf, Vadrian was able to receive her kidney.
Wow.
So even if you're not a match directly, you are. And like I said, anyone out there listening, there's tons of information I can share with you that's from the NKR, National Kidney Registry, partnered with NKDO. And I'm a mentor for that program. So it's just share. For everyone who doesn't share, wear it on your, I talk to people and tell them, make sure they put it on their t-shirts, their cards, share it on Facebook, because 90% of the living kidney donors that I know, guess what? It's because they saw the story. Most
Absolutely.
of them are non-directed, meaning they donated to a stranger. Yes. I'm part of a documentary movie that's going to be filming in Dallas next month, where everyone donated to strangers and now are friends, and some haven't met them, but that's amazing to do. So with that being said, I was a match with Kimberly, and the rest is history. Here we sit almost 7 years later, by the grace of God, both in good health, closer than ever. She's even picked up some of my habits through my kidney. I'm going to make a joke and tease. And it's not the end all if you're on a dialysis and looking for a kidney donor.
Wow. Listen, I'm glad you said, closed mouths don't get fed. Mm-hmm. And that is one thing that kept ringing all week. We need to speak up. If you need a kidney, say so. If things are going on, say so. I told you about Rochelle Lightfoot, who donated her kidney to a total stranger. They really didn't know each other, and they met at a wedding, and they went upstairs to dress, and then she saw the catheter in the young lady's neck, and because she was on dialysis, and she was just like inquisitive. What is that? And why do you have that? And so she began to speak about it and tell her, I need a kidney. And she said, oh, okay. When we get back to Miami, I'm going to give you my kidney. And she was like, no, honey, no. My sister tried, everybody tried. It wasn't a match.
Correct.
And just like you said, here it is, a total stranger. She said they went and got tested. She was a match. Her son was a match, and her mother was a match to this person. And she ended up donating her kidney to her, and now they're the best of friends. She said, matter of fact, we're sisters. We're sisters. Yes. And she also picked up some of her habits.
It's a bond like no other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody that I have spoke with that has donated their organ says the same exact thing, that there's definitely a bond. They pick up each other's traits, a lot of them, because she said she did not eat snow crabs. So her recipient was like, hey, do you like snow crabs? Because I have urge and
Yes.
a craving for snow crabs. And she said, I love them. I eat them every other day.
Same for Kimberly. She was not a sweet tooth person now, and I've given it to her. I wish I would have given it all to her. Oh, if I wish she could have just, well, no, I wouldn't want to wish my sweet tooth on her, but I wish she would have taken a little more. Maybe I wouldn't be a plus size girl trying to show kidney donor athletes. I'm part of, you mentioned the running. I'm part of the clan. I stepped up to the plate because we have two individuals, a male and a female, Hillary and Matt, who are just changing the way kidney donation is looked upon. They're doing,
Yes.
guess what, girl, a marathon once a month. And I
Once
said,
a month?
no, once a month, a marathon, but they're elite athletes. Hillary just made it into a lot of Ironman things, and they're in Matt's a general, they're elite. But I'm showing them that not only am I a plus size, I'm also a female, a person of color. And
Absolutely.
we too can be athletes. Now I'm doing 5Ks and just graduated to a 10K. I'm 7 5Ks in and per month, one a month, and I've done 2 10Ks.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Maybe I would be slimmer if I didn't have this sweet tooth.
Wow. Yes. Listen, we have Raymond that is on, and he said, I just received a kidney. I just got a kidney transplant in January. Congratulations, Raymond. And how are you doing? I was on dialysis for 7 years and didn't have support till 2020. And I thank God for I thank God for being blessed this year. Congratulations,
Ramon.
Yes. So this is why we're here, Trish, and this is what I want to go into next.
Mm-hmm.
What causes people not to be a donor? I know there are a lot of myths out there. Some people feel that, if they're a donor, they're just going to let them die and not help them if they have it on their driver's license. I've heard at my funeral, I don't want holes in me. Like, I done donated all of my parts and I'm going to have half of a body. None of that stuff is true. So can you just touch on the myths about why a lot of people in our community don't donate?
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm thinking a lot of it stems back to medical mistrust from the experiments. We have the syphilis experiment, the Tuskegee experiment. So I think a lot of it is that included. But however, it's the number one myths. And I also debunk the myths. First of all, I make sure everyone know there are over 100,000 people that are waiting for life-saving transplants. But guess what? This is the alarming part that stuck with me. Out of that 100,000, 60% is from multicultural communities.
Yes.
Alarming. We are the highest ratio who needs transplants, but the least to donate. And the biggest myth that I've had to debunk is the old driver's license one. And we're in the state of Florida. I know everybody's not on Florida and listening from Florida, but it's gotcha when it does not have to be on your driver's license anymore. You could still be a registered organ donor and not put it on your driver's license. Absolutely. So that's one thing. But I basically let them know that the paramedics, the fire rescue, and the medical doctors in the emergency rooms, they take oaths to do no harm. They would not blatantly have you to die, number one. But the main thing is you have to be viable organs. Your organs have to be alive. The only way you're blessed to be a hero when you're deceased, I pray every day that I'm able to go in a manner where I'm able to donate everything. I've already talked to my family. And I want the honor walk at the parade, sissies, if you're listening. In the hospital, I want the parade and meet my recipients. So yes, I remind them this all the time. It's important to speak to your family.
Absolutely.
But you have to go in a way where everything is still viable and alive and just be brain dead. You have to be brain deaf. And the paramedics, the ER doctors, it's a whole different medical team. It's called an organ procurement team. So you can say a medical team that comes in and recover the organs. So it's two different teams. And as far as me, I kind of want them to see it on my driver's license because I was like, okay, maybe God will make sure that they saved me so I can donate, because you have to be viable organs. And then a lot of them, when I was donating, becoming a living donor. Now, that's not for everyone. I'm here to talk to you. If you do want to become a living donor, you can donate a kidney and a lowered portion of your liver. You can do that as a living donor. They say to me, Trish, you weren't afraid to donate because when you wake up, they're going to take more than what they need, or you may not wake up and your family won't get your body back for a casket. So those are mainly the most alarming things that we need to get out of as a race. Medical mistrust is still going to be there, but this is why one of the reasons it's important for my foundation, because I want us to look normal. I don't want us to be rare black unicorns. Mm-hmm. We need to make diversity happen for organ transplantation world. We need to bring the normalcy. So that's one of the reasons why I started the foundation, so we can look normal and fit in and show that it's okay.
Absolutely. And let me ask you this. Also, you have Jean Sign, if I'm yes, pronouncing her name correctly. She's saying hello, Trish.
Hi. She's a co-author from Because of Organ Donation and a good friend of mine.
Okay, awesome. Hi, Jean. Thank you so much for tuning in. So you said something about speaking to your family. Let's jump on that, because that is something very difficult to talk about as far as organ donation, death. Conversation to have with family members. How do we start that conversation with our family members?
As far as since this is
as far as organ donation, if something was to happen to me, that type of thing, so they'll know. This is what I want. This is how I would like it to go. You can donate my organs. I want them to be aware of how I want everything lined up. But a lot of times they ask me, why do you keep talking about this? Are you going to be dying soon? Or, no, but I just want you to be aware. I just want you to know what my wishes are. So, I know it's a difficult thing to have these type of conversations with your family. So can you just give us some tips or nuggets, or how should we even start this conversation in reference to organ donation, being that living or deceased donor?
That's a good question. I'm going to give you a couple scenarios because it actually depends on that particular scenario or situation. I just have them to lead off and let them know, hey, mom, hey, dad, or whatever significant other or whatever person you're speaking with. I want to help. I want to leave a mark. I want to be the person to save a life if I'm not here. And you start off with this and you let them know that I feel my organs, God would want me to save another life. He's blessed me while I was here. And if your higher power is God, my higher power is God. So that's why I use this example. And he would want me to help give someone a better life have them not to suffer. And you could ask that person, you've always known me to be a nice person. You want me to be a nice person. Or if they weren't a nice person, I want to, when I'm gone, I want to leave a legacy where I can actually say, oh, I wasn't such a nice person on earth, but when I'm gone, I can give these something to change the way my legacy was. And you can just also throw in there, they will let you say goodbye to me. They will definitely treat my body with care, because these are conversations I've had with my sisters. And I would want this. Don't worry, if you are planning to have an open casket funeral for me, you will get the body back. But just think about how proud you guys would be of me for saving so many lives, up to 8 lives for organs, and up to 75 lives if I can donate tissue and tendons.
Wow.
So, sis, don't you think I can save almost up to 100 people lives, 75 and 8? I mean, that's 83 people possibly.
Absolutely.
And just lead in. I would recommend, don't just say, oh, when I'm dead, make sure everybody get my organs. Lead off to why you want to do this and make it as something you're proud. Because obviously, if you're a registered donor, you're proud and you want this to help people. Just remind your loved one that this is something you wanted to do and it's to save others.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for that. You know what? You said something else as well, as far as being a living donor. What is the difference between being a living donor versus donor? Is it a certain amount of more years?
Okay, I don't know whose internet, maybe mine. What's the difference between a living donor and a
deceased donor?
Okay, living donor, while you're alive, you are able to donate one of your kidneys and function well and properly. And as far as a liver living donor, is not as many of them, but it is possible to donate a lower lobe of your liver, and that would regenerate back, because that we all know the texture of livers. So that would be a living donor. And there's people also who has donated living bone marrow. I don't discount them. I also include those. It's not an organ, but it is donating. It's bone marrow. And deceased donation, that is when your body is still viable and alive on earth, but your brain activity is now deceased. So you're brain dead. And while it's common to see people during their honor walk on life support machines, and it is remarkable and incredible. There is extreme heroes, and I thank God for the families of the deceased owners. Those are donor families who allow this gift to save that many lives. They are donor families and heroes for their loved ones. Their loved ones are heroes.
And let me ask you this: what is the lifespan of a recipient who receives either a living? Is it a difference between if they receive a kidney or organ from a living donor versus a deceased donor? What is the actual lifespan?
That's a great question, because it depends on which nephrologist is telling or delivering the news. I'm going to just give you a couple examples. And you know what? I also think it goes by how well the organ is matched into the recipient. This is why it's important for minorities to be donors. I'll get back to that point. But I want to
because that's my next question.
Okay. Oh, and you know how passionate I am with this. So
right.
It also depends on how well the recipient takes care of the organ and how it's a perfect match. I'm going to give you an example. I have a great friend of mine, George Franklin. He is the longest living person who received a kidney from a deceased donor. It will be 48 years.
Wow.
Is it 48 or 26? 48 years come this November.
Wow.
He received his from a deceased donor.
Wow.
They say expectations for a deceased kidney is not limited to 3 to 8 years, but we're going on 48 years for him. And it just depends. Like Jean Syme, who was just on earlier, she is on year number 5 or 6. I'm bad with numbers. I can barely keep up with my own. But it just depends on how well it's matched and how well the recipient takes care of it. And it doesn't matter from living or deceased donation, because like I gave the example of George Franklin, he had his from a deceased donor. Wow. And he's the oldest kidney recipient in the world from a deceased donor.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's go to why minorities should donate. We heard the ratio. You gave the numbers at the beginning. You can also repeat it for those that just came in or chimed in. But please tell us, why is it so important for our minority communities to donate?
Okay. For those of you who just tuned in a little late with us, I was explaining earlier that there are over 100,000 individuals waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. And out of that 100,000, it is 60% belong to multicultural communities. And to even take that a little further, 28% of this 60 is from African American and Black. 21% is from Hispanic Latino. 9% is from Asian Pacific Islander. 1% is from Indian Alaska Native. And 1% is from multiracial descent. And when I say organ donation has no race, it doesn't see race, it doesn't see color. But because of genetics and our makeup and our body types, it tends to be that the organs being received work better when it comes from someone that looks like you because of the genetic makeup. But I'm not saying it. I don't want anyone out there to get confused. You are able to receive an organ from any race, long as it's a cross match for the blood type and everything is a perfect match. So I'm just saying that genetically speaking, it would work. And this goes work better. This goes, for our body mass. Like we could be 200 pounds, but curvy. And someone from a Caucasian descent could be 200 pounds and not as curvy. It has a lot to do with just our makeup.
Right. So that's awesome. So hearing this information, everybody that is tuned in, is just so important. We hear these numbers. These are accurate numbers that is so many of us, and we said this earlier, that are on dialysis, that suffer from hypertension, diabetes, that affects our kidneys, that affects our body function. And a lot of times it calls for us to have or be on the transplant list. However, it's not too many of us that is there. So it's very important that those of you who are hearing this show or will listen to the replay or will share it and hear it, it's very important that we get out and we become organ donors, or we educate ourselves and we bring awareness to our communities and to ourselves and to our families in reference to it, because there are so many people dying because they don't have a donor. You see, Raymond was on, he said he was on dialysis for 7 years and he didn't get the support until 2020. So it's just so many people that are losing their lives daily. I know several. Thank God they were able to receive their kidney.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're doing very well. So let's talk about that. We're going to get ready to end. But I do want to talk about, once they receive the kidney, how well are the recipients doing and how well are the donors are doing. And also, if someone here is listening to the show and they're inspired, they may know someone. I know with these type of numbers, somebody knows someone that have either been on dialysis or going through that stage right now, or dealing with either stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 of renal kidney failure. So somebody has to know somebody that is dealing with this, and how could they get involved? How can they be a donor? So let's just go with the first question of what is the life after giving your organ and the recipient, living with a new
Right.
organ?
And I laugh at that question because I wasn't expecting it, because I had seen Kimberly, I almost called her Thelma. We're Thelma and Louise, so she's the Thelma. And when I tell you, the minute she got my kidney, the doctor said it was such an awesome match. It started producing urine for her. And when I first saw her, we stayed in 2 separate hospital apartments in Tampa because we had to pack up and move there. She was like power walking, because it was during Christmas time, running to and from the bathroom because she said, "Oh, I left the water on." And I'm walking bent over with my caregiver, Lorraine. Hi, Lorraine. You've met Lorraine before.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm dying for mercy. I'm like, yes, I'm kind of a drama queen and dramatic, but the first few days was no joke, but she was so revived just to see her so happy, not suffering and in pain. I would do that over and over and over again and experience it all.
Wow.
If I had my way, I would do the Oprah Winfrey on them. Everybody that walked by, you get a kidney, you get a kidney. Because the joy it is to save someone's life, it is remarkable. So the donors, it depends on, everybody's different. I wasn't running marathons the day before, but for me, I felt it. And it took the first 2 weeks were my hardest. Mm-hmm. And poor Lorraine put up with a lot. So she forever will be the caregiver of the millions years. And so after the 2 weeks, each thing got pretty much better. As time go by, you start feeling like 100% yourself. And it depends on each individual, for the recipient and for the donor. It depends on that individual. These 2 examples I gave were for me, but hands down, it seems like the recipient always makes out better in the beginning, because It's giving them life. It's giving them life.
Absolutely. Because your story sounds so similar to Rochelle's and Gwen's story, because Rochelle's like, she was all bent over like, oh my gosh. And she said she's this drama queen as well. Yes. And she said Gwen calls her, "Hey, how you doing? I'm eating Kentucky Fried Chicken." And she was like, "What?" Yes. But she said it connected, it responded right away to where it gave her life, it gave her energy. And Ramon is on here listening. He received his kidney in January, and he's saying it gives you energy.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, does it affect your iron level in a certain way? And maybe that's why once the kidney is received and it's a good match and everything is operable the way it's supposed to, does it boost your iron level?
They have hemoglobin kidney now, and the kidneys filter. So yes,
Absolutely. Okay.
it is amazing. Even the skin color on them, most of them lighten up. Like for our race, it tend to make you darker,
Darker.
and
Right.
you can the color changes immediately almost. It's just
Wow.
amazing. It's a miracle. That itself is just worth giving the life to someone, just extending it, making it better. Who wouldn't want to do this for somebody,
Absolutely.
especially a loved
Absolutely.
one?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I totally agree. So Trish, we may have someone on here right now and saying, I want to get involved. I want to be a living donor. I want to donate my organs. How do I do that? How do I be that superhero to, give someone life?
Well,
A
first of
second
all,
chance at least.
everyone should be registering registerme.org, registerme.org. But for any assistance for becoming a living donor, even if you have questions, if you're even trying to be a liver donor, I'm not a double D donor. We call those double donors, but I know plenty of liver donors as well. I'm here to guide you. I can put you in with the National Kidney Registry. I can help you. I'm here to answer any questions. And as you can see, I'm very candid. I'm honest. I will tell you the good, bad, and ugly. Everything. So I'm going to be honest. I'm not in this. I've always gotten this as a myth. Oh, you're so passionate about organ donation. Do they pay you to register someone? And no, absolutely not. I would do this for the rest of my life without making a dime, just to touch that one individual, change lives, and let everyone know organ transplantation is important and we need to make a change. And we can prevent it by working on our high blood pressure, our diabetes, obesity, all that stuff. And I not make one single dime, no donation. Just that alone is priceless. I would do this the rest of my life if I could.
Yes. And listen, I've experienced your passion and your compassion on those that are going through this. And that's why I wanted you to once again to be on this platform. And I know that it's not about money, it's not about fame, it's not about any of that
Correct.
for you. This is your ministry. This is what God has given you to do, to be a blessing to so many, Trish. And I just thank you for being that superhero. I thank you
Oh,
for being that light in our community, because I'm telling you now, I'm going to need your help to guide
and
me
I'm here
through
for you. I'm here.
this. And even when my husband came home with the news, one of the first people I thought about was you.
Oh,
And because I knew that I would need the guidance uh and the help.
I'm here for you.
Um because this thing is tough. It's tough. And so many people look at us and they don't know the struggle day to day.
Correct.
Life happens, life be lifing. And
Mhm.
we just have to be strong. And I thank God for the strength daily. I
Yes.
really do.
And
I
you
thank
have
God for you.
me. Anyone else out there listening have me. It does mmdfoundation.org is how you can reach me. And I'm also on all social media platforms. Trish Phillips. I'm here for you, sis. No worries. Anybody else out
Thank
there
you.
listening, we can make a change. We can bring diversity into this.
Absolutely. And it's just so important. And I said this Sunday, I said this on Thursday. It takes people to look just like us.
Mm-hmm. The
We are.
information is better received coming from someone who looks like you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just can you give your information? I know I have the registerme.org where they can become a donor. And also at the bottom, you all may see strolling is www.mmdffoundation.org, which is Trish's website, which has tons of information on how you can be a donor. You can contact them if you have any questions in reference to organ donor and kidney health. If you have any more contact information, Trish, can you just give that to us right now,
Yes.
please?
Besides reaching out to me on all social media handles, Trish Phillips, Facebook, you can message me, slide into those DMs. And you could slide in them about the kidneys. And the website have all of the information, but the telephone number for MMDF is 954-303-6053. 954-303-6053. But all of the information is on the website. Please don't hesitate to reach out. If I don't know the answer, I can definitely research it and find out from you. I'm part of a great organization, NKDO, and just a wealth of knowledge.
Yes, thank you so much. Trish, we have some comments coming in. This is also Raymond, thank you so much for being a part of this program tonight, because you know it firsthand. Those of you who probably missed the beginning of this, Raymond is on and he just received his kidney. He's a recipient and he received his kidney in January. And he has a lot to say. He's a Black male. And he said, I have a godbrother that just got on dialysis a month ago. He says, this experience helped me. Please tell my male friends to get checked out by the doctor. Often because us as men be stubborn.
Yes.
So let's touch on that a little bit before we end. And he's just giving support to my husband, saying, tell him to call if he needs to talk.
Hey,
he said that life change can be stressful at times, and it is. And it definitely can be.
Encourage the men, especially African American, they can do these HBCU games, this NFL and the NBA games like it's nothing. Yes. Just like they can turn on the TV or get up and go to these stadium arenas, they should be able to go to their doctor, because prevention is key. If you catch it early, that is good. So treat your health like you treat these sports items.
Absolutely. And this is what I always say. Prevention is better. Okay. Go get checked out. Not saying, oh, nothing is detected. No. Prevention. Early prevention.
You may not have symptoms.
Absolutely.
And
early
if you have a preference,
is best.
There's African American primary doctors. If you want a female or male, you can choose. There's no excuse.
Yes, absolutely. So it's so important to get checked out. I know that we're targeting kidney health, but there are so many others that, so many other ailments, should I say, that is going on in our communities. And you all just need to get checked out. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait. Live your life. Live a full and healthy life. We have to do diet changes, because that's another thing, a part of this whole kidney health and nursing my husband's kidneys. And also, even if you are a recipient of a transplant and a donor, you have to watch your diet. Listen, I know we got 5 minutes. I'm trying to get out of here at 9 o'clock. I didn't mean to keep it that long. However, Trish, on the diet issue, what the diet should be like?
Well, I can't speak from a recipient side, really, but I do know Kimberly try to eat lean meats, lots of vegetables. And as far as my personal self and my transplant team, they pretty much want me to monitor my protein intake so I don't have protein in the urine, and get my protein from plant-based if I'm going to do protein shakes or bar, and limit it to just one. Lean meats, of course, lots of healthy salads and vegetables, not drenched in a lot of oil or salad dressing. just to eat all clean. And it's not that we have any restrictions. Everything is in moderation.
Absolutely.
And if you stay on your labs, we're only required once a year. I try to go every 2 years, twice a month, not 2 years. I try to go twice a year. Oh my gosh, twice a year, not twice every 2 years. So
Yes.
twice a year versus once a year, because I want to stay on top of them. And because it is also known if you're overweight, you can have high blood pressure, diabetes. And because I am plus size, I'm not thin, I'm tall and not thin. So I like to stay on top of my labs to catch anything, like we discussed earlier, preventative measures.
Right. And so one of the preventative measures I know, well, we're at this stage, but so it won't get any worse, or his kidney level decline even more than what it is right now, is low sodium or no sodium, period. And just water, a whole lot of water. He wants him to drink water. So, it's just basically, like you said, just take care of your health. Eat right. Clean eating is very important, because if you want to make these life-changing, if you want to make a life-changing to become healthier, then we have to eat right. We definitely have to eat right. And he had to cut out all the sodas, all the juices, and just basically stick to the water. But Trish, thank you so very much.
No, thank
you.
Thank
so
you
very much. I made it through this set.
Thank you so much for always opening up your platform for me.
Absolutely, Trish.
And we'll see you again in December, because it is our 2-year anniversary.
Yes. So I can't wait. We'll be preparing for that. Let me get past the little summer stuff. It's almost done, and then we're going to start working on the December show. And hopefully you can bring the whole team on.
Oh, the whole team will be here, and you'll get a chance to meet the new ambassadors.
Awesome.
There's 3 of them. Now we have 3 ambassadors. I have an event coordinator that you haven't met yet either.
Wow. Awesome.
So
I can't wait to meet everybody.
Person. So yes. So definitely, I'm looking forward to it. And thank you so much. And I will be speaking to you this week, because we're going to stay in connection with your hubby.
Yes, thank you, please, because I'm going to need all the help and the support, and prayers. Yes. Listen, everybody, we need your prayers and your support through this. We finally came out open publicly about it a few days ago, and I'm just so overwhelmed with the love and the support that people have given. And it's like, listen, how do I donate? How do I become a donor? Because I want to get on the list. And it just means a lot that people want to make that sacrificial offering, not through just, talk or money, but I want to give a piece of me, or, whatever I can do so he can live. It means a lot when people just open up their heart, because they don't have to do that. So I'm definitely appreciative of all of those who are listening, that have reached out to us once you heard the news. We thank you so very much. Trish, let me tell you, I can't thank you enough for all of your knowledge that you have shared over the years, your kind-heartedness, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because I just never thought we would be here at this place.
And that's why I'm grateful for my radio show and my sponsors who approached me for that. Darcy Jackson Roofing and Waterproofing.
Yes.
They approached me for this show. Thank God.
Yes, because I happen to have that radio on, and it's I'm telling you, it was a God thing. It was a God thing, because I really don't listen to actually like the radio dial like that.
Because we work it.
Yes.
We work in radio, so we go.
Absolutely. People don't understand. But
you're like, oh, they didn't do top of the hour. They're dead air. We're too critiquish, so no.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it was just a God thing for me to hear that, because I was being very concerned about, you know, my own personal kidney health. And just to see that it's my husband 2 years later that is in this state, to where you know, like everything you said is like, oh, okay, Trish, you know, Trish said that, you know, it was like a preparation type thing. I'm seeing it now. And so I just thank you. And Ramon is right. Support is everything.
Yes.
It's everything. Because it's like, okay, now who do we go to? Who do we talk to? You know, my mother-in-law jumped in, and, you know, she was a registered, she's a retired registered nurse. So, you know, she jumped on board. So it's just, I'm just grateful for the village. I'm grateful for my earth angels, such as yourself, and so many others that have supported us and lifted us in prayer. So thank you all so much. It's actually 9:02. Once again, give out your contact information for those that are listening, or they may know someone who would need MMDF. Please give that information out again.
Trish Phillips on all social media platforms, Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation on all platforms. You see the website scrolling by. Direct contact, just slide into my DMs. Trish Phillips on Facebook, the Trish Phillips on Instagram, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on TikTok. So you can find me anywhere. If you can't get me through those ways, just contact the host. She got me.
I got you.
Thanks for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. And good night, Trish.
Good night. Love you.
Love you too.